So now we are recording. Good. So I'll introduce briefly myself. I'm Cesare Paolucci, doctor in veterinary medicine and collaborator of Eurofishmarket, and I have the pleasure to speak to a representative of the Kingfish Zeeland company. So I'll let you introduce yourself, and then we can get into the main interview.
Yeah, sounds good. My name is Cees-Jan. I am a quality assurance manager here at Kingfish Zeeland. I started in the company from the early beginning, so in 2016. And yeah, I've seen the company grow till what it is today.
Okay. So first thing first, I would like to thank you for the opportunity to get in touch with you and to talk a little bit about your company. We think that is it will be a very successful company, also because it seems to have really nice ideals behind it. So, especially from the sustainability and innovative point of view. So I would like to ask you, what does Kingfish Zeeland produce and why, in your opinion, it is important and valuable?
So we farm yellowtail kingfish, Seriola lalandi, in a land-based facility. That's what we do.
Okay, so for our listeners, I would explain a little bit what Seriola lalandi is. Is a fish that is not really native for the Dutch the Dutch area. Actually, it's related to the Italian Ricciola, which is Seriola dumerili, but it's a completely different species, and it's a marine species. But as I understood, you are not farming it into the sea, but you are farming it on land. Is it right?
That is correct, yeah.
Cool. So I would like to ask you, since you were into the company like from the beginning, what were the top 3 main challenges in setting up your business? Because I believe that there has been some some really hard challenges to win over and to start your business.
Yeah, that's correct. Like you say, the fish is that we are farming on land is not native here. So first of all, you need to get the fish. I think that was one of that is the most important challenge. We closed the production cycle of yellowtail kingfish, so we are able to produce a year-round stable supply of fingerlings that we farm in our own hatchery and that we can stock in our farm. I think that was the foremost challenge to tackle in the first place, getting the fish. The second challenge is to find the right and optimal diet for our fish, to find the right feed. So you have 2 challenges. You have to feed your kingfish. You're looking for a nutritional balanced diet, but you're also farming indoors. So it is really important that the feed type, the pellet that you feed, is also suitable for the system. For example, that you don't have a lot of breakage, or you don't have to have many dust particles of feed falling off. So that's a challenge that we're still working on today as well. There are many improvements that we can make. So feed is definitely one. And then the second challenge is basically getting it done. I mean, making it happen. We started literally from the ground with the blueprints. There was no kingfish whatsoever here in the Netherlands. And yeah, within 4 years from that moment, we basically built a company as it is, with all the challenges ahead. So I think those 3 were the mains we needed to cover: getting the fish, having the right feed for our fish, and basically building up the market from the ground upwards.
So a further question on this: why kingfish?
Why kingfish? Well, it's a relatively high valued species, so it is important that it is, yeah. Building a recirculation facility, it's quite costly, so you also need to have eventually the revenues from that. But the most important reason as well is we can reproduce it indoors stably, so throughout the entire year. It grows relatively fast, so you also have, and it's a robust fish, so it's really suited for indoor indoor farming.
Okay, so speaking about recirculating aquaculture, why is an RAS better than a classic farm not based on land but on sea?
Oh, I think on both sides you have pluses and minuses. I mean, so there's always an advantage to do it on sea or having the cage cultures, or on to do it on land based. The advantages we have in farming fish on land is that we have a pre-treatment of our water. So we take in fresh seawater, but before it enters in our farm, we have various filtration steps before. And eventually we disinfect the water as well, to make sure we have no parasites or whatsoever inside our water before it is entering our farm. By having control of the intake water, you don't have problems with, for example, algal blooms, parasites. Well, it's indoor, so we don't have predators swimming around our.
Okay, so basically it's a very good thing for fish welfare.
Well, you can control your environment. So by having a controlled environment, you can ensure a year-round stable supply of fish. So everything we influence in our farm, we do ourselves. So we don't have environmental influences from the outside affecting our fish, because we can control all these parameters within our farm.
Okay, perfect. And I will add, I think about that. Also, for the from the point of view of biodiversity, it's very good that the culture is on land. It's based on land, because it's basically impossible for farmed fish to escape into the natural environment. And since kingfish is is a non-native species, you avoid the risk of actually putting a non-native species into the sea. And that's from my point of view,
that is the reason why we can culture kingfish in the Netherlands. I mean, these are all criteria that we needed to tackle before we even were allowed to farm fish like we do. Another advantage as well in having it on land base is that you can also manage your waste effluent. So we extract the fecal waste, for example, from our fish, which we do not discharge back into our receiving water body. So we also can manage our effluent streams much better compared with cage farming.
That's a very interesting point, and it seems like sustainability is really one of the main pillars of your philosophy and your kingfish farm. So I would like also to ask you about some of the energy inputs of your farms. Is the energy used by your facilities obtained from natural resources? And if so, what are some examples of that?
Yeah, so first of all, our covered with solar panels. So that is one thing. So we generate our own energy by the sun. But the majority of the energy that we are using is coming from wind energy. So we are using 100% renewable energy to operate our farm. Yeah, from which the majority of this energy derives from wind.
Okay, perfect. That's very interesting. So the farm is sustainable from biological, but also technical point of view, because you have 100% renewable energy as your energy input, and then you recirculate the water. You don't allow your fish to get into the natural environment, controlling what would be otherwise a potentially dangerous escape of fish. And what about food? So we were talking earlier about the food efficiency and how it's very important for kingfish. So I would like to talk a little bit about the feed that you give to your kingfish and why is it difficult to really create the perfect feed for farmed fish?
Well, first of all, like you said, is correct. So part of the ingredients that we use in our feed derives from fish trimmings and fish waste. So the fish meal that is and fish oil derived from this is in that respect a sustainable alternative compared with fish meal from well, purposely made to make fish meal out of it.
Okay.
The technical issues there, and I'm not a feed formulist, so for me it's hard to go in details there, is that Dott is a relatively new concept, and yeah, everything you put in your system, will be either eaten by the fish or it remains in your system. So finding an optimal balance there in the nutrients you put into your diet and like the physical characteristics of this diet is it's new basically. So we are continuously looking there for improvements. Also, we're looking for alternative. We have a whole research and development department that is looking into increasing the sustainable ingredient in our fish. So increasing the amount of fish trimmings for fish meal and fish oil, but also finding sustainable alternatives like algal oils or like plant-based oils to replace or substitute the fish oil that we are using now.
Perfect. So basically, it's I would like to point out a thing for our listeners, that managing a fish farm is more like managing our whole ecosystem, not only the actual fish that you put into it. So you have to control water quality, water temperature, nutrients, fish density, pathologies that could occur. It seems easy, but it's really not. So actually, I'm very aware that it's very difficult to obtain certain results. So one question though, about your final product. From a consumer point of view, why should a consumer buy a farmed kingfish instead of a wild one?
Yeah. Well, first of all the fish that we are farming here, we produced ourselves. So we didn't took wild kingfish from the wild to stock into our farm. So in that respect, we literally closed the production cycle. Every kingfish we make here, we did not took out from the wild. We of course say that our fish is sustainably farmed. It's not only that, you don't have to take our word for it. We also have like sustainability standards like ASC, and recently we also get Friend of the Sea certified, backing up our claims that we farm our fish in a responsible manner. Another important aspect is that by farming fish, you generate a year-round steady supply of fresh kingfish, which we can transport across the whole of Europe within 48 hours after harvesting. So as a consumer, buying farmed kingfish from our facility, you are certain that you're buying a fish that has been produced in-house, which has been harvested, processed, and put on the market within 48 hours. So you're buying a super fresh product in that respect.
Yeah, it's basically very difficult to be any fresher than that. Less than 48 hours from the facilities to the consumer's plate. So that's a really good point. I think my last question will be about the carbon footprint data. So if you have any carbon footprint data regarding your facilities, and if I would like to know if you are using currently carbon credits.
That's a good question you are asking. It is really like we developed our farm from the beginning, so from the ground onwards. It's really difficult to calculate carbon footprints from a farm that is not operating at a steady state.
Okay.
What we see now is since a year our farm is operational, according to all the models that we have inside, and so now we are at in a situation that we actually can start modeling for this carbon footprint. Although these studies are quite complex, And if you want to do them, you need to do them thoroughly. You cannot do it in a month or so. So it is really high on our list. Now we have established our company. We built it up from the ground. We are farming fish now. And now it's also time to study the carbon footprint that we have. Saying that, there is all the things that we are doing in terms of green energy, being ASC certified, for example. We want to farm as responsible as possible with respect to our environment, to our fish, and the people that are working here. And we are now working towards this this moment that we can actually calculate our carbon footprint, but we're not there yet as a company.
Perfect, but that's a completely suitable answer. So you actually do not have the data down, but you are researching.
First, we need to generate the data from a representative situation.
Of course. That's a completely good answer. I would like also to ask you about how many people are actually now working in your facilities. So, is it balanced between women and men?
I don't have those statistics by heart at this moment. We do have males and females working here, obviously, but we are expanding really fast. So we have people working in the hatchery, working in the grow out and in the processing, but we also have a whole development and construction team, because we are also, like I say, we're expanding so fast. We also have our own construction department as well. So we have multiple departments. It's not only
a whole ecosystem. It's a whole ecosystem. Yeah, you have everything.
Exactly.
Good. I think that would be all. I have enough. I asked you enough questions, and I'm really happy to have had those informations, and it has been really nice to talk to you. And again, really thank you, and I really appreciate what your company is doing. I think it's it will be a very successful product. Again, thank you, and I guess this will be it for the interview.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
Okay.
Bye.